Part 7, Navigating New Waters. Chapter 61, A New Adventure. The dawn of a new era had settled over the kingdoms, casting a serene light across the landscape. From the palace balcony, Mara and Kale looked out over their realms with a mixture of satisfaction and apprehension. The early morning sun bathed the world in a gentle glow, illuminating the fruits of their labor and the promise of a peaceful future. Yet with this tranquility came the undercurrent of change, whispering through the corridors of power and the hearts of their people. The peace they had fought so hard to achieve was not an end but a beginning, an opening chapter in a story that was far from complete. Mara turned her gaze to the distant horizon, where the land met the sky in a seamless blend of colors. Her thoughts were as vast and varied as the landscape before her. The unity they had established was more than just a political feat. It was a foundation for something greater. It was a promise of stability and cooperation, but it also carried the weight of expectations and the challenge of maintaining the delicate balance they had worked so tirelessly to create. She knew that while they had secured peace, the path forward would not always be smooth. Kale stood beside her, his eyes scanning the expanse of their domains. He understood the complexities of the new era as well as Mara did. The world beyond their borders was vast and filled with mysteries, opportunities, and potential threats. The kingdoms had been so focused on the internal challenges that had once threatened their unity that they had scarcely scratched the surface of the larger geopolitical landscape. This new chapter would test not only their alliance but also their understanding of the world and their place within it. A sense of anticipation filled the air as Mara and Kale prepared for the journey ahead. They had always known that their mission was far-reaching and would require more than just diplomatic skill and strategic acumen. It would demand adaptability, resilience, and a deep trust in one another. Their relationship, forged through trials and triumphs, would be their anchor as they navigated the uncharted territories of this new era. They exchanged a look of determination, silently acknowledging the magnitude of the adventure that lay before them. The alliance they had built was strong, but it would face challenges that were as unpredictable as they were significant. They were poised to explore new frontiers, confront emerging threats, and seize opportunities that would shape the future of their kingdoms and beyond. Their journey would be a test of their strength and resolve, pushing the boundaries of their understanding and their partnership. With a final glance at the waking world, Mara and Kale took a deep breath, readying themselves for the road ahead. The future was uncertain, but they were prepared to face it with the same courage and commitment that had guided them thus far. They were embarking on an adventure that would challenge their alliance and their very perception of the world, and they were determined to meet it head-on, together. As the sun rose higher, illuminating the landscape in its full glory, Mara and Kale turned away from the balcony, their hearts brimming with both hope and resolve. The dawn of this new era was not just a new chapter. It was an invitation to explore the vast possibilities that lay beyond the familiar. With a sense of excitement and purpose, they stepped forward, ready to embrace the challenges and adventures that awaited them in their quest to build a lasting legacy. The adventure began with the unexpected arrival of a mysterious envoy from a distant land, a moment that would mark the start of a new and unpredictable chapter for Mara and Kale. The envoy appeared one crisp morning, their arrival announced by a delegation of palace guards. Dressed in robes of vibrant, unfamiliar fabric that shimmered with intricate patterns, the figure stood out starkly against the backdrop of the palace's grandeur. The striking appearance of the envoy was the first indication that their message would be anything but ordinary. As the envoy was ushered into the grand hall, the air buzzed with curiosity and anticipation. Mara and Kale received the envoy with a blend of formality and eagerness, eager to hear what news this emissary from a distant land had brought. The envoy spoke with a voice that carried an air of both authority and mystery, recounting tales of an ancient civilization hidden deep within uncharted territories. This society, according to the envoy, was not only advanced in terms of technology and knowledge but also possessed secrets that could profoundly impact the kingdoms. The envoy's reports painted a picture of a civilization that had thrived in isolation, developing sophisticated technologies and cultural practices that were unknown to the outside world. This advanced society had the potential to offer valuable insights and resources that could benefit both Mara and Kale's kingdoms immensely. Yet, alongside the promise of discovery and enrichment came a note of caution. The envoy's words hinted at potential dangers and conflicts that might arise from any interaction with this enigmatic civilization. Intrigued by the possibility of uncovering new frontiers and the allure of expanding their influence, Mara and Kale deliberated over the implications of the envoy's message. The opportunity to engage with such an advanced society was tempting, yet it came with risks that could challenge their carefully established peace and stability. They understood that the journey ahead would not only test their strategic skills but also the strength of their alliance and their ability to navigate unforeseen challenges. After careful consideration, Mara and Kale made the decision to investigate further. They knew that embarking on this journey would require a meticulous approach, blending diplomacy with exploration. The mission was set to uncover the truth behind the envoy's claims, assess the potential benefits and dangers, and determine the best course of action to ensure their kingdom's continued prosperity and security. The stage was set for an adventure that would demand both their leadership and their partnership. As preparations for the journey began, the palace was abuzz with activity. Maps were studied, resources were gathered, and advisors were consulted. The expedition required careful planning, as the uncharted territories were unknown and fraught with potential hazards. Mara and Kale knew that their leadership would be tested in ways they had not yet experienced, and they were determined to approach the challenge with the same dedication and resolve that had defined their previous successes. With everything in place, Mara and Kale prepared to embark on their journey into the unknown. The sense of anticipation was palpable, as they understood that this adventure held the promise of discovery but also the possibility of peril. As they looked out over their realms one last time before setting out, they were filled with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The quest to explore new frontiers and expand their influence was about to begin, and they were ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that their partnership and leadership would be crucial in navigating the challenges to come. Preparations for the expedition were executed with unparalleled precision and attention to detail. Recognizing the gravity of the venture ahead, Mara and Kale assembled a diverse team of trusted advisors, scholars, and explorers to accompany them on this unprecedented journey. Each individual was meticulously selected for their specific expertise and skills, ensuring that the team was well equipped to tackle the myriad challenges they might encounter. The carefully chosen members included seasoned cartographers to chart their course, diplomats to manage potential negotiations, and scientists to study and document any new discoveries. The planning process was exhaustive, with every potential risk thoroughly assessed and addressed. Mara and Kale left no stone unturned, anticipating a range of contingencies that could arise in the uncharted territories. The team worked tirelessly to develop strategies for various scenarios, from navigating treacherous terrain to handling unexpected encounters with indigenous peoples. This careful consideration of potential obstacles was essential for minimizing risks and ensuring the expedition's success. Logistics for the journey were daunting, requiring meticulous coordination of resources and supplies. Provisions had to be stocked, equipment had to be tested, and transportation methods had to be arranged. The team meticulously planned for every aspect of the expedition, including food and water, medical supplies, and necessary tools for exploration. Each detail was carefully scrutinized to ensure that they were fully prepared for the unknown challenges that lay ahead. Despite the daunting nature of the preparations, The promise of uncovering new knowledge and strengthening their alliance provided a powerful motivation. Mara and Kale were driven by the prospect of discovering new frontiers and forging deeper connections with distant lands. This sense of purpose propelled them forward, fueling their determination to overcome the logistical challenges and risks associated with the expedition. The anticipation of the journey added a palpable sense of excitement and urgency to the preparations. The team worked with a shared enthusiasm, aware that their efforts would pave the way for significant discoveries and potential opportunities for their kingdoms. The collaborative spirit that marked their preparations mirrored the unity and partnership that had been the cornerstone of Mara and Kale's leadership. As the final preparations fell into place, Mara and Kale took a moment to reflect on the magnitude of their undertaking. They understood that this expedition was not merely a quest for knowledge, but a crucial step in securing their legacy and expanding their influence. The gravity of their mission weighed heavily on them, but they remained resolute, committed to seeing it through to its conclusion. With everything meticulously arranged and the team ready to embark, Mara and Kale stood poised on the brink of their adventure. As they prepared to set out, they were filled with a blend of excitement and apprehension, knowing that the journey ahead would test their leadership and their alliance in ways they had not yet experienced. The promise of discovery and the potential to strengthen their realms inspired them to face the unknown with confidence and resolve, ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. As the journey commenced, the group plunged into the heart of the uncharted territories, a realm that promised both grandeur and peril. The landscape that unfolded before them was a tapestry of stunning contrasts. Towering mountains that scraped the sky, dense forests where the canopy seemed to swallow the light, and vast, arid deserts that stretched to the horizon. Each environment posed its own unique challenges, testing the group's ability to adapt and persevere. The towering mountains were the first formidable obstacle they encountered. The ascent was grueling, with the thin, cold air making every step feel like a monumental effort. The team had to navigate treacherous paths and rocky outcrops, often relying on ropes and climbing equipment to ensure their safety. The sheer scale of the mountains was awe-inspiring, but it also served as a constant reminder of the physical demands of their expedition. As they descended from the mountains into the dense forests, the challenges continued. The thick underbrush and tangled vines made progress slow and arduous. Visibility was often limited to a few feet ahead, and the dense foliage was home to a variety of wild creatures, some of which were hostile. The team had to employ their skills in tracking and survival to navigate through the forest while remaining vigilant against potential threats. Emerging from the forest, the group faced the harsh, expansive deserts. The arid landscape was unforgiving, with scorching temperatures by day and freezing cold at night. The endless dunes and lack of landmarks made navigation difficult, requiring precise map reading and constant adjustment of their route. Water and food supplies had to be managed carefully, with the team relying on their knowledge of desert survival to endure the harsh conditions. Throughout these trials, the unity of Mara and Kale's team was continuously tested. Harsh weather conditions, difficult terrain, and the occasional skirmish with wild creatures all served to remind them of the perils that lay ahead. Despite these challenges, the team's resolve remained unshaken. Each obstacle was met with resourcefulness and determination, reinforcing the strength of their collective spirit. Amidst the hardships, Mara and Kale's bond grew stronger. Their mutual support and determination were evident in the way they led their team through adversity. Mara's strategic thinking and Kale's calm reassurance provided a sense of stability and direction. Their shared experiences, both the triumphs and trials, deepened their connection and underscored the strength of their partnership. As they pressed on, the challenges they faced only served to solidify their commitment to the mission and to each other. The journey through the uncharted territories became a crucible that tested and ultimately strengthened their alliance. With each obstacle overcome, Mara and Kale's leadership and unity shone through, paving the way for the continued success of their expedition. The greatest challenge arose when Mara and Kale's expedition finally reached the heart of the ancient civilization they had set out to find. The civilization was an enigma, a society that had remained hidden and isolated for centuries. The initial encounter was fraught with tension as the inhabitants regarded the outsiders with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. Their society, built on a foundation of secrecy and self-preservation, was wary of intrusion from the outside world. Navigating the complex social structures of this ancient civilization proved to be a formidable task. The cultural norms and traditions were intricate and unfamiliar, creating a labyrinth of etiquette and protocol that Mara and Kale had to learn swiftly. Misunderstandings were frequent, as even well-intentioned gestures could be misinterpreted in the context of their host's deeply rooted customs. The subtle nuances of communication became crucial as they sought to establish a rapport with the locals. Despite the initial difficulties, Mara and Kale approached the situation with genuine respect and a willingness to understand. They immersed themselves in learning the local customs and language, demonstrating a sincere interest in the civilization's heritage and way of life. This openness and humility helped to break down some of the barriers that had kept the civilization isolated for so long. The inhabitants began to see the outsiders not as intruders, but as allies with a shared goal of mutual benefit. The diplomatic efforts of Mara and Kale were complemented by acts of goodwill that spoke volumes to the ancient people. They engaged in rituals and ceremonies, participated in local traditions, and offered valuable knowledge and resources from their own lands. These gestures were not merely symbolic. They were practical demonstrations of their commitment to fostering a relationship based on trust and respect. Slowly but surely, the ice began to thaw. The initial wariness of the ancient civilization gave way to tentative acceptance as Mara and Kale's sincerity became apparent. Through persistent effort and open dialogue, they started to forge relationships with key figures within the society. These relationships were crucial in paving the way for deeper cooperation and understanding between their worlds. The process of building trust and rapport was not without its setbacks. There were moments of frustration and conflict, where old prejudices and fears threatened to unravel the progress made. However, Mara and Kale's steadfast dedication to their mission and their willingness to address issues head-on allowed them to overcome these hurdles. Their resilience and adaptability became a testament to their leadership and diplomatic skills. As the foundations of cooperation were laid, the prospects for future collaboration began to take shape. The initial tensions and misunderstandings were replaced by a growing sense of partnership and shared purpose. Mara and Kale's efforts had successfully bridged the gap between their worlds, setting the stage for a new era of interaction that promised to benefit both their kingdoms and the ancient civilization they had encountered. As the expedition neared its conclusion, Mara and Kale's team began the return journey, carrying with them the fruits of their arduous quest. The knowledge and alliances they had gained from the ancient civilization were profound and transformative. They had been entrusted with secrets of advanced technology and wisdom that held the potential to revolutionize both their kingdoms. The expedition's findings included innovative techniques in agriculture, medicine, and energy that could greatly enhance their societies and improve the lives of their people. The process of acquiring this invaluable knowledge was not without its difficulties. The team had to navigate a complex array of cultural exchanges and adapt to the ancient civilization's unique methods and perspectives. Yet, the rewards were substantial. The insights and technologies they brought back promised to address some of the pressing challenges faced by their realms, offering solutions that were both cutting-edge and practical. The advanced technologies would not only boost their economies but also strengthen their defenses and improve their quality of life. In addition to the technological advancements, the journey had solidified new alliances that were crucial for future cooperation. The ancient civilization's leaders had recognized the sincerity and dedication of Mara and Kale, forging bonds that extended beyond mere diplomacy. These new alliances were built on mutual respect and shared goals, ensuring a lasting partnership that would benefit all parties involved. The relationships established during the expedition were expected to foster a spirit of collaboration that could lead to further joint ventures and cultural exchanges. The return to their realms was met with great anticipation and celebration. Both Mara and Kale were greeted with enthusiasm and pride from their people, who were eager to hear about the expedition's outcomes. The knowledge and alliances they brought back were seen as milestones in their reigns, marking a new chapter of progress and innovation. The success of the expedition was a testament to their leadership and vision, demonstrating their ability to turn ambitious goals into reality. Reflecting on their journey, Mara and Kale felt a renewed sense of purpose. The challenges they had faced and overcome had reinforced their commitment to their shared mission. They had not only expanded their horizons but also deepened their understanding of their partnership. The expedition had tested their resolve and adaptability, showing them that their alliance was capable of withstanding even the most unforeseen difficulties. The journey had also served as a powerful reminder of the strength of their alliance. Through the trials and triumphs of the expedition, Mara and Kale had proved that their collaboration was not just a political arrangement, but a dynamic and resilient partnership. The experiences and accomplishments of the expedition had strengthened their bond, providing a solid foundation for future endeavors and ensuring that their leadership would continue to be guided by shared values and goals. As they settled back into their roles, Mara and Kale approached the future with confidence and optimism. The expedition had not only brought them new opportunities but had also reinforced their belief in their ability to navigate challenges and seize opportunities. With the knowledge and alliances they had secured, they were poised to lead their kingdoms into a new era of prosperity and cooperation, ready to face whatever the future held with unwavering determination and unity. The new adventure had undeniably tested Mara and Kale's resolve, pushing the boundaries of their leadership and partnership. The expedition into the uncharted territories had been a rigorous trial, filled with challenges that demanded both strategic thinking and personal resilience. Throughout this journey, they had encountered numerous obstacles that tested their patience, adaptability, and unity. Each trial, from harsh environments to cultural misunderstandings, had not only strengthened their individual capabilities but had also fortified their bond as partners. As the expedition unfolded, it became increasingly clear that their unity was more than just a political arrangement. It was a profound source of strength. Their ability to navigate the unknown together, facing unforeseen challenges and adapting to new circumstances, demonstrated that their partnership was a dynamic force capable of overcoming significant hurdles. The trials they faced had reinforced their trust in one another and proved that their combined efforts could achieve remarkable results. With the expedition's successful outcome, their realms were now positioned to reap the benefits of the discoveries made and the relationships formed. The ancient knowledge and advanced technology they had acquired promised to revolutionize various aspects of their societies. From improvements in agriculture and medicine to advancements in energy and defense, the fruits of their journey would have a lasting impact on the prosperity and well-being of their people. This new era of growth and innovation was a direct result of their collaborative efforts and unwavering dedication. Looking forward, Mara and Kale embraced the future with a profound sense of accomplishment. The success of their expedition had not only brought tangible benefits, but also highlighted the effectiveness of their leadership and partnership. They stood on the brink of a new chapter, filled with anticipation for the opportunities that lay ahead. Their accomplishments served as a testament to their ability to turn ambitious dreams into reality and set the stage for further advancements and achievements. The world was now full of possibilities, with new horizons to explore and opportunities to seize. Mara and Kale's journey had shown them that, together, they could tackle any challenge that came their way. Their experiences had instilled a deep sense of confidence and excitement for what the future held. They were prepared to face the evolving landscape with optimism and a readiness to embrace new ventures, knowing that their unity was a formidable asset. The knowledge that they could overcome any challenge as long as they faced it together was a powerful motivator. Mara and Kale had demonstrated that their partnership was not just a means to an end but a core element of their success. The trials of the expedition had proven that their combined strengths and shared vision were key to navigating complex situations and achieving their goals. This realization reinforced their commitment to their shared mission and to each other. As they prepared to embark on the next phase of their journey, Mara and Kale carried with them the lessons learned from their recent adventure. Their bond, strengthened by the trials they had faced, would continue to guide them as they pursued new challenges and opportunities. With a sense of purpose and unity, they were ready to step into the future, confident that their partnership would lead them to continued success and fulfillment. Chapter 62: A Complex Mission. As the initial thrill of their recent adventure began to wane, Mara and Kale found themselves confronted with a new and intricate mission that required a blend of political acumen and personal resilience. The excitement of their discoveries and the alliances they had formed had opened doors to significant opportunities for their kingdoms. However, these opportunities were not without their complexities. The newfound knowledge and relationships had introduced a host of challenges that demanded careful and nuanced handling. The core of their new task was to forge a multifaceted agreement with a coalition of newly discovered nations. Each of these nations came with its own set of interests, cultural values, and political agendas. This coalition was a diverse and dynamic group, making the negotiation process both intricate and demanding. The challenge lay in balancing the varying expectations and needs of each nation while striving to maintain the unity and stability of their own realms. To address these complexities, Mara and Kale knew that they needed to engage in a delicate dance of diplomacy. They began by immersing themselves in understanding the unique perspectives and priorities of each member of the coalition. This required extensive research and consultations with experts on the cultures, histories, and political landscapes of the new nations. They also had to address potential conflicts and find common ground that would satisfy the diverse interests involved. The process of negotiation was further complicated by the need to integrate these new agreements with their existing alliances and commitments. Mara and Kale had to ensure that the new terms would complement rather than disrupt the existing frameworks of cooperation. This required a careful balancing act, as they worked to harmonize the new coalition's goals with their ongoing responsibilities and partnerships. The task was not just about reaching agreements but about crafting solutions that would benefit all parties involved while preserving their own kingdom's interests. Amidst the complex negotiations, Mara and Kale also faced personal challenges. The pressure of the mission tested their resilience and their ability to maintain a united front. The stakes were high, and the weight of their responsibilities was significant. They had to navigate not only the political intricacies but also the emotional toll that came with the high-stress environment. Their bond was a source of strength, helping them to stay grounded and focused despite the mounting pressures. Throughout the negotiations, Mara and Kale demonstrated their commitment to finding solutions that would foster long-term cooperation and mutual benefit. They approached each discussion with a spirit of openness and respect, working tirelessly to bridge gaps and build trust. Their dedication to the mission was evident in their willingness to go above and beyond to achieve a successful outcome. They knew that the agreements they were working towards had the potential to shape the future of their kingdoms and the broader coalition. As the intricate negotiations progressed, Mara and Kale remained hopeful and determined. They understood that the process would be challenging, but they were confident in their ability to navigate the complexities and achieve a resolution that would benefit all parties. With their combined expertise, resilience, and unwavering commitment, they continued to work towards forging a meaningful and effective agreement, paving the way for a promising future of collaboration and mutual prosperity. The mission commenced with a series of high-stakes diplomatic meetings, setting the stage for an intricate dance of negotiation. Mara and Kale, accompanied by their most trusted advisors, journeyed to Arinder, the grand city that served as the heart of the coalition's negotiations. Arinder was a bustling hub, a melting pot of diverse cultures and political entities, each vying for influence and advantage. The city's grandeur and complexity mirrored the challenges that lay ahead for the diplomatic team. Upon arrival, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and unease. The meetings were centered around crucial issues such as trade agreements, the allocation of shared resources, and mutual defense pacts. These topics were critical, as they had the potential to shape the future relations between the kingdoms and the newly discovered nations. However, the discussions were fraught with tension, as competing agendas and conflicting interests dominated the dialogue. Every proposal was met with scrutiny, and every word spoken was carefully analyzed for hidden meanings and intentions. The complexity of the negotiations was evident in the multifaceted nature of the issues at hand. Trade agreements required balancing economic benefits with equitable terms for all parties involved. The discussion on shared resources was equally challenging, as it involved intricate calculations and considerations of fair distribution. The mutual defense pacts demanded assurances of security while addressing concerns about sovereignty and potential conflicts. Each topic necessitated delicate diplomacy and strategic maneuvering to achieve a satisfactory outcome for all. The meetings were not merely technical discussions but also involved a deep dive into the political and cultural nuances of the coalition's members. Mara and Kale, well versed in diplomacy, were keenly aware of the importance of understanding and respecting these nuances. They engaged with representatives from various factions, listening to their concerns and aspirations. This approach helped in building trust and creating an environment conducive to open dialogue. The task was to find common ground while respecting the diverse perspectives of the coalition members. Despite their best efforts, the negotiations were not without their challenges. The atmosphere was often tense, with occasional outbursts and heated debates. Each side was determined to secure the best possible outcomes for their interests, leading to moments of stalemate and frustration. Mara and Kale had to navigate these turbulent waters with skill and patience, ensuring that their own positions were defended while striving to find compromise and agreement. Amidst the complexities of the meetings, Mara and Kale found solace in their shared resolve and mutual support. Their bond, forged through previous trials, proved to be a cornerstone of their diplomatic efforts. They relied on each other for strength and insight, working together to craft solutions that would address the concerns of all parties involved. Their unified approach was crucial in maintaining momentum and advancing the negotiations. As the meetings progressed, there were glimpses of progress and breakthroughs. The diplomatic team began to find common ground on several key issues, paving the way for potential agreements. While the journey was far from over, the efforts of Mara, Kale, and their advisors were slowly but surely shaping a path toward resolution. The high-stakes nature of the mission continued to test their skills and endurance, but the promise of a successful outcome kept them focused and determined. The political complexity of the situation was further intensified by the personal dynamics at play. Mara and Kale were not only dealing with a web of intricate political interests, but also had to navigate the deeply ingrained histories and rivalries of the coalition's leaders. Each leader came with their own set of motivations and concerns, influenced by long-standing grievances and alliances that predated the current negotiations. Understanding and addressing these personal dynamics was crucial for building meaningful relationships and forging successful agreements. In their interactions with these leaders, Mara and Kale found that personal histories often overshadowed political objectives. One leader, for instance, was driven by a long-standing feud with another faction, which made any discussion on shared resources particularly challenging. Another was deeply invested in protecting the legacy of their forebears, adding layers of historical significance to seemingly straightforward negotiations. To navigate these personal complexities, Mara and Kale had to employ a mix of diplomacy, empathy, and strategic insight. Moments of intense debate and conflicting interests were common during the discussions. The leaders' personal grievances frequently flared up, leading to heated exchanges and standoffs. Mara and Kale had to step in as mediators, carefully managing these tensions while keeping the overarching goals of the negotiations in mind. This required not only addressing the political concerns but also acknowledging and validating the personal stakes involved. Earning trust and respect through these delicate interactions was essential for maintaining progress. Building trust was a gradual process, often achieved through small but significant gestures. Mara and Kale engaged in private discussions with individual leaders, seeking to understand their perspectives and find common ground. These one-on-one conversations allowed them to address personal concerns and demonstrate their commitment to fair and equitable solutions. By showing genuine interest in the leaders' viewpoints and acknowledging their past grievances, they were able to foster a sense of respect and collaboration. Strategic alliances played a crucial role in advancing the negotiations. Mara and Kale had to identify and cultivate relationships with leaders who were open to cooperation and shared their vision for a united coalition. These alliances were not only instrumental in gaining support for key proposals but also in counterbalancing the influence of more resistant factions. Building these alliances required careful consideration of each leader's needs and aspirations, as well as a willingness to offer concessions where feasible. The delicate balance of personal and political dynamics often meant that progress came in fits and starts. Despite their best efforts, there were setbacks and moments where it seemed that the negotiations might collapse. However, Mara and Kale's perseverance and their ability to adapt to the evolving situation helped them navigate these challenges. Their determination to overcome personal rivalries and political obstacles kept the process moving forward, even in the face of adversity. As the negotiations continued, the cumulative efforts of Mara and Kale began to pay off. The personal and political complexities slowly started to align, paving the way for agreements that addressed both the practical and emotional needs of the coalition's leaders. The journey was far from over, but the progress made was a testament to their skillful handling of the intricate web of relationships and rivalries. Their ability to balance these personal dynamics with the broader political objectives was key to achieving a successful outcome. Amid the complex political negotiations, Mara and Kale encountered a series of unexpected personal challenges that began to test the very fabric of their relationship. The immense stress of the mission, coupled with the constant pressure to deliver results, began to erode the ease and closeness they once enjoyed. As they navigated the turbulent waters of diplomatic discourse, their interactions were increasingly colored by tension and frustration, leading to misunderstandings and disagreements. The strain on their relationship became evident, and there were moments when their shared goals seemed overshadowed by their growing personal conflicts. The disagreements between them often stemmed from the high-stakes nature of their tasks. Their roles required them to make difficult decisions and sometimes take stands that put them at odds with each other. What had once been a seamless partnership was now marked by moments of discord and frustration. These personal trials highlighted the cracks in their communication and understanding, revealing vulnerabilities that had previously been masked by their collective focus on their duties. Each conflict seemed to deepen the chasm between them, creating an atmosphere of emotional distance. Despite the growing tension, Mara and Kale found themselves compelled to confront their own vulnerabilities in ways they hadn't before. The personal challenges forced them to look inward and reflect on their individual needs and fears. They realized that their ability to overcome these obstacles hinged on their willingness to communicate more openly and honestly than they ever had. This period of self-examination and emotional transparency was difficult but necessary for addressing the underlying issues affecting their relationship. In their efforts to reconnect, Mara and Kale made a concerted effort to bridge the gap that had formed between them. They began to have more heart-to-heart conversations, setting aside their roles as rulers to focus on their personal bond. Through these conversations, they expressed their frustrations, fears, and desires, striving to understand each other's perspectives. This newfound openness allowed them to address misunderstandings and build a stronger foundation for their partnership. The process of rebuilding their relationship was not without its challenges. There were moments when old patterns of conflict resurfaced, and resolving disagreements required patience and empathy. However, their shared commitment to their common purpose provided a guiding light. As they worked through their differences, they began to rediscover the strength of their bond and the reasons they had come together in the first place. Their mutual respect and dedication to their mission became the driving forces behind their efforts to mend their relationship. As they navigated through these trials, Mara and Kale's bond, though strained, proved to be a source of strength. The challenges they faced together reinforced their understanding of one another and deepened their connection. They learned that their partnership was not just a matter of shared goals, but also a profound personal relationship that required constant nurturing. Through their efforts to reconcile and refocus, they emerged with a renewed sense of unity and a stronger foundation for their continued collaboration. By the end of this challenging period, Mara and Kale had not only managed to overcome their personal difficulties, but also strengthened their partnership. The experience had been a trial by fire, testing their resolve and commitment to each other. As they refocused on their common purpose, they did so with a deeper appreciation for the importance of their relationship and the role it played in their success. Their bond, forged in adversity, became a vital source of strength as they moved forward with their mission and their lives. The complexity of their mission illuminated deeper issues within their own realms, creating additional layers of challenge for Mara and Kale. As they engaged with the coalition and navigated its intricacies, they were confronted with resistance from various factions within their kingdoms. These factions, wary of the changes being proposed and uncertain of the potential outcomes, voiced their concerns and fears. This internal dissent threatened to undermine the progress they were making in the external negotiations, adding pressure to an already fraught situation. The resistance came from different quarters, each with its own set of motivations and grievances. Some factions were driven by fear of losing influence or power, while others were concerned about the potential economic or cultural impacts of the new alliances. The objections ranged from logistical challenges to more profound ideological differences. These internal conflicts complicated Mara and Kale's task of managing their realms while striving to build a cohesive coalition. They needed to balance these diverse concerns with the overarching goals of the mission, which often seemed at odds with the desires of their critics. Addressing internal dissent required Mara and Kale to engage in delicate diplomacy within their own borders. They held numerous meetings with key stakeholders, listened to their concerns, and attempted to find common ground. This process was fraught with tension, as they needed to reassure their subjects while also presenting a united front in the coalition's negotiations. The challenge was to address the fears and objections of their people without appearing to compromise their commitment to the broader goals of the coalition. Navigating these internal issues was further complicated by the need to maintain a strong and cohesive external stance. Mara and Kale understood that any sign of weakness or division within their kingdoms could be exploited by the coalition's members or rival factions. Therefore, they had to carefully manage their public image and communication, ensuring that their internal struggles did not become apparent to their external partners. This balancing act required skillful maneuvering and a keen sense of timing. As they worked to reconcile the needs of their own people with the demands of the coalition, Mara and Kale found themselves increasingly involved in resolving conflicts within their realms. They sought to build consensus and foster understanding, emphasizing the benefits of the coalition while addressing legitimate concerns. This process often required compromises and concessions, which were not always easy to achieve but were necessary for maintaining stability and support. Despite the challenges, Mara and Kale's efforts began to yield results. They managed to quell some of the dissent by demonstrating the tangible benefits of their mission and by taking steps to address the concerns of the most vocal critics. Their ability to maintain a united front while managing internal issues was a testament to their leadership and commitment to their shared goals. This period of internal struggle ultimately strengthened their resolve and deepened their understanding of the complexities of governance. By the end of the mission, Mara and Kale had not only achieved significant progress with the coalition but had also gained valuable insights into the dynamics within their own realms. The experience highlighted the importance of balancing internal and external pressures and reinforced the need for ongoing dialogue and adaptability in leadership. As they moved forward, they carried with them the lessons learned from this complex and challenging period, ready to face new obstacles with a more nuanced understanding of their roles as leaders. As the negotiations reached their climax, Mara and Kale found themselves at a crucial juncture that would determine the outcome of their mission. The final agreement was on the table, embodying the culmination of months of intense discussions, compromises, and strategic maneuvering. This agreement had the potential to reshape alliances and set new precedents, but it also carried significant implications for their own kingdoms. The stakes were high, and the decisions they faced would test both their principles and the stability of their alliance. The final agreement required them to make several compromises that pushed the boundaries of their initial positions. Some of these concessions were necessary to secure the support of coalition members, but they also threatened to undermine certain values and priorities that Mara and Kale held dear. Balancing their own interests with the broader goals of the coalition was a delicate task, one that demanded careful consideration of both short-term gains and long-term consequences. The weight of these choices was immense, as each decision could have far-reaching effects on their realms and the stability of their newfound alliances. Throughout this challenging period, Mara and Kale relied on their shared vision and commitment to the greater good to guide their decisions. They frequently revisited their core objectives and the principles that had initially driven their pursuit of peace and collaboration. This introspection helped them navigate the complexities of the negotiations, ensuring that their choices, while difficult, remained aligned with their overarching goals. Their mutual trust and understanding provided a solid foundation as they worked through the final stages of the agreement. The process of reaching a consensus was fraught with tension and debate. Mara and Kale had to engage in high-stakes discussions with coalition members, addressing objections and negotiating terms that would be acceptable to all parties involved. The pressure of these negotiations was palpable, as each decision carried the risk of either advancing the coalition's goals or jeopardizing the fragile harmony that had been established. Despite the challenges, Mara and Kale's ability to remain focused on their shared vision helped them maintain a sense of purpose and direction. As they approached the final moments of the negotiations, Mara and Kale faced a series of critical decisions that tested their resolve. They had to weigh the immediate benefits of certain compromises against the potential impact on their long-term objectives. This required not only strategic thinking but also a deep understanding of the political and cultural dynamics at play. The choices they made would influence the future of the coalition and the stability of their own kingdoms. The resolution of the negotiations brought a mix of relief and satisfaction. The final agreement was signed, marking the successful culmination of their mission. The compromises they had made were significant, but they had managed to secure terms that preserved the core principles of their vision while accommodating the needs of the coalition. This outcome represented a major achievement for Mara and Kale, demonstrating their ability to navigate complex political landscapes and maintain their commitment to a broader vision of cooperation and peace. Reflecting on the experience, Mara and Kale recognized the profound impact of their choices and the strength of their partnership. The challenges they faced had tested their leadership and their resolve, but their shared dedication to the greater good had guided them through. As they moved forward, they carried with them the lessons learned from this pivotal moment, prepared to tackle future challenges with the same determination and unity that had seen them through this critical phase of their mission. With the agreement finalized, Mara and Kale returned to their kingdoms, carrying a profound sense of accomplishment and relief. The mission had demanded much of them, challenging their political acumen and personal endurance. As they journeyed back to their realms, they reflected on the arduous path they had traversed, from the high-stakes negotiations in Arinder to the delicate balance of internal and external pressures. The successful resolution of the complex agreement was a testament to their perseverance and skill in navigating the labyrinth of diplomacy. The political and personal challenges they faced had been significant, pushing both their leadership capabilities and their relationship to the limit. The negotiations had required them to make difficult compromises and address conflicting interests while maintaining a united front. Despite the tension and occasional disagreements, Mara and Kale had managed to forge a path through the intricate web of coalition politics. This achievement was not only a victory for their kingdoms, but also a reflection of their strength as a team. The successful outcome of the mission brought more than just tangible benefits. It reinforced the strength of their partnership. The experience had deepened their understanding of each other's strengths and vulnerabilities, highlighting the importance of trust and collaboration in overcoming complex challenges. They emerged from the ordeal with a renewed appreciation for their shared goals and a stronger bond, fortified by the trials they had faced together. Their partnership had proven resilient, capable of withstanding the pressures of high-stakes diplomacy. Returning to their realms, Mara and Kale were met with a sense of anticipation and optimism from their people. The agreement they had secured promised valuable benefits, including enhanced trade, mutual defense pacts, and new alliances. These advancements held the potential to significantly impact their kingdom's futures, offering opportunities for growth and prosperity. The successful negotiation was celebrated as a milestone in their efforts to secure a lasting peace and foster international cooperation. The journey had also provided Mara and Kale with a deeper understanding of their roles as leaders. They had grappled with the intricacies of diplomacy and the delicate balance required to navigate competing interests. The experience underscored the complexity of their positions, revealing both the rewards and the challenges of leadership. They had gained insights into the nuances of political strategy and the importance of maintaining a clear vision amidst the tumult of negotiation. In addition to the professional growth, the mission had reaffirmed their commitment to each other and their shared vision. The trials they had faced had tested their resolve, but they had emerged from the experience with a reinforced belief in their ability to confront intricate challenges together. Their journey had not only strengthened their partnership, but also affirmed their capacity to lead with integrity and resilience. The lessons learned from this mission would guide them as they continued to navigate the complexities of their roles. As they settled back into their routine, Mara and Kale looked forward with a sense of renewed purpose. The successful resolution of the mission marked a significant achievement, but they were aware that their work was far from over. The experience had equipped them with valuable insights and a deeper understanding of their responsibilities. With their partnership stronger than ever, they were ready to face the future with confidence, knowing that they could tackle whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their commitment to their realms and each other. Chapter 63: A Growing Threat. The tranquility that Mara and Kale had labored to establish was abruptly shattered by the rise of a disturbing new threat. The peace they had worked so diligently to secure was suddenly jeopardized by an unforeseen menace that began to surface with alarming rapidity. The initial signs were subtle, minor disruptions and isolated incidents that seemed manageable on their own. However, the gradual accumulation of these events painted a more ominous picture, one that hinted at a concerted effort to destabilize the delicate balance they had achieved. At first, the disturbances appeared as isolated issues, such as small-scale skirmishes on the borders, unexplained shortages of vital resources, and sporadic acts of sabotage. Each incident, while troubling, seemed to be a separate issue that could be addressed with targeted responses. Mara and Kale approached each situation with their usual diligence, deploying resources and personnel to manage the immediate concerns. Yet, despite their best efforts, the frequency and severity of these incidents began to escalate, suggesting a more coordinated and insidious threat. As the situation unfolded, intelligence reports from various sources began to converge, revealing a disturbing pattern. The minor incidents were not isolated. They were part of a broader, more deliberate campaign aimed at undermining the stability of both kingdoms. Mara and Kale, recognizing the gravity of the situation, convened a series of urgent meetings with their advisors and military leaders. The evidence pointed to a network of adversaries working in unison, targeting the vulnerabilities in their alliance, and seeking to exploit them. The threat manifested through a combination of direct aggression and subversive tactics. On one hand, there were coordinated attacks on strategic outposts and infrastructure, designed to disrupt communication and supply lines. On the other, there were attempts to sow discord within their ranks, through the spread of misinformation and the incitement of internal conflicts. The dual nature of the threat complicated their response, requiring a multifaceted strategy to address both the overt and covert aspects of the menace. Mara and Kale faced the daunting task of not only responding to the immediate threats, but also identifying and neutralizing the forces behind them. Their efforts to stabilize the situation involved mobilizing their forces, fortifying defenses, and launching intelligence operations to uncover the source of the coordinated attacks. They worked tirelessly to assess the scale of the threat and devise a comprehensive strategy to counter it, all while managing the strain on their leadership and the morale of their people. The challenge was compounded by the necessity of maintaining the fragile peace with their existing allies. Mara and Kale had to navigate a delicate balance, ensuring that their response to the new threat did not alienate their allies or exacerbate existing tensions. The process required careful diplomacy, clear communication, and, at times, difficult compromises. They understood that preserving their alliances was crucial to mounting an effective defense against the emerging threat. Despite the complexities and setbacks, Mara and Kale remained resolute in their commitment to safeguarding their realms. The unfolding crisis tested their leadership and their ability to adapt to unforeseen challenges. Through a combination of strategic foresight, decisive action, and unwavering determination, they sought to protect the hard-won stability and rebuild the sense of security that had been so abruptly threatened. In the face of this new and evolving danger, Mara and Kale drew on their experience and the strength of their partnership. They remained focused on their ultimate goal, to secure the peace they had achieved and to thwart any attempts to undermine it. The road ahead was fraught with challenges, but their unity and resilience provided a steadfast foundation as they prepared to confront the threat and restore the stability that their kingdoms so dearly needed. The initial signs of trouble emerged when a series of mysterious attacks began to plague the trade routes that were vital to the economic stability of Mara and Kale's kingdoms. These routes, which had once flowed smoothly with essential goods and resources, were suddenly beset by a wave of disruptions. Shipments that were expected to arrive on time were delayed, and in some cases, they disappeared entirely without any trace. This unsettling pattern of events quickly drew the attention of both rulers, who understood the crucial role these trade routes played in maintaining their economic health. The impact of these attacks was immediate and severe. Essential supplies, including food, medicine, and raw materials, were being intercepted and stolen, leading to significant shortages across their realms. The economic strain began to be felt by the common people, who faced rising prices and dwindling resources. As the shortages deepened, the stability of their economies was put into question, and public confidence in the reliability of their trade agreements began to erode. The once smooth flow of commerce was now marred by uncertainty and frustration. Mara and Kale, recognizing the gravity of the situation, convened a series of urgent meetings with their economic advisors and military leaders. They needed to understand the scope of the disruptions and to determine whether these incidents were isolated acts of sabotage or part of a more coordinated effort. The initial investigation suggested that these attacks were not random but rather strategically timed and targeted, raising concerns that there was a more insidious plot at play. The rulers faced the daunting challenge of addressing both the immediate disruptions and the underlying cause of the attacks. They ordered increased patrols and security measures along the trade routes, hoping to prevent further incidents and to safeguard the remaining shipments. At the same time, they launched a comprehensive intelligence operation to uncover the masterminds behind the attacks. Their efforts involved analyzing patterns, tracing the origins of the intercepted goods, and questioning those who had witnessed or been affected by the disruptions. As the investigation progressed, it became increasingly clear that the attacks were part of a larger, well-organized scheme designed to undermine their kingdom's stability. The intelligence reports revealed a network of operatives who were not only targeting trade routes, but also attempting to incite discord among their allies and within their own borders. The scope of the plot suggested that the disruptions were intended to create economic instability and weaken the alliances that Mara and Kale had worked so hard to build. The realization that they were facing a coordinated effort to destabilize their realms added a new layer of complexity to their response. Mara and Kale had to balance their immediate actions to address the disruptions with a strategic approach to dismantling the network behind the attacks. This required careful planning, resource allocation, and a reassessment of their security and intelligence strategies. The challenge was not only to stop the current attacks but also to anticipate and prevent future ones. In the face of this growing threat, Mara and Kale's leadership was put to the test. They had to remain vigilant and adaptable, continuously adjusting their strategies as new information emerged. The attacks on the trade routes served as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities in their systems and the lengths to which adversaries might go to disrupt their stability. Despite the mounting pressure and the strain on their resources, they remained resolute in their commitment to protect their kingdoms and restore the confidence of their people. The situation highlighted the importance of both resilience and adaptability in leadership. As Mara and Kale worked to address the immediate crisis, they also focused on strengthening their alliances and reinforcing the trust that had been built over time. The attacks on the trade routes were a sobering reminder of the ever-present threats that could arise, but they also served as a catalyst for reinforcing their resolve and preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. The situation became even more precarious when whispers of dissent began to surface within the ranks of Mara and Kale's own kingdoms. The recent disruptions to the trade routes, coupled with the ensuing economic strain, had ignited a simmering discontent among various factions. Some members of the nobility and influential figures were beginning to voice their grievances more openly, questioning the effectiveness of the ruler's strategies and expressing frustration over the perceived mishandling of the crisis. The unrest was not merely a reaction to the economic difficulties, but also fueled by deeper, underlying issues. Long-standing rivalries and personal ambitions that had been kept in check were now resurfacing. The disruptions provided a convenient pretext for those who had always harbored doubts or opposition to Mara and Kale's policies. As the rumors began to spread, they painted a picture of a growing faction of nobles who were disillusioned and potentially plotting against the rulers. Mara and Kale were acutely aware of the danger posed by this internal discord. The possibility of factions conspiring against their leadership threatened to undermine not only their authority, but also the fragile peace they had worked so hard to establish. They realized that the challenge was not just to address the external threat, but also to manage and mitigate the internal discontent that could jeopardize their stability. In response, Mara and Kale intensified their efforts to understand the nature and extent of the dissent within their realms. They conducted discreet inquiries to identify the sources of discontent and to gauge the level of support for any potential conspiracies. Their investigations revealed a complex web of rivalries and dissatisfaction, which made it clear that addressing the issue required both diplomacy and strategic maneuvering. To counteract the growing unrest, Mara and Kale engaged in a series of strategic meetings with key figures and advisors. They sought to address the grievances of the discontented factions while also reinforcing their own positions of power. This involved negotiating compromises where possible, demonstrating a willingness to listen and adapt, and taking decisive actions to reassure their supporters of their commitment to stability and prosperity. Amidst the political maneuvering, Mara and Kale also had to carefully manage their public image. They needed to project confidence and unity to prevent further erosion of support. Public speeches and official statements were crafted to reinforce their commitment to resolving the crisis and to highlight the steps they were taking to address both the external threats and internal discontent. The goal was to maintain a strong, united front and to counteract any narratives that could be used to undermine their authority. Navigating this complex political landscape required Mara and Kale to remain vigilant and adaptable. Every decision they made had the potential to either reinforce their authority or fuel further dissent. They had to strike a delicate balance between addressing the immediate crisis, managing internal politics, and ensuring that their actions did not inadvertently exacerbate the situation. The challenge was not only to resolve the current issues but also to safeguard the future stability of their kingdoms. Through their efforts, Mara and Kale demonstrated resilience and strategic acumen. They were able to address many of the immediate concerns and to rebuild trust among their supporters. However, the experience served as a stark reminder of the fragile nature of their achievements and the constant vigilance required to maintain their unity and stability. The whispers of dissent and the challenges they faced underscored the ongoing need for careful governance and proactive leadership in navigating the complexities of their roles. As Mara and Kale delved deeper into the investigation of the attacks and internal unrest, they uncovered troubling evidence of a covert organization working behind the scenes. This shadowy group, previously unknown to them, was composed of individuals with a range of grievances and ambitions. They discovered that the organization included former rivals, disgruntled nobles, and disenfranchised elements from both realms. These individuals, united by their dissatisfaction with the current order, had formed an alliance with the intent to destabilize the fragile peace Mara and Kale had worked so hard to achieve. The motives of this covert organization were multifaceted and complex. At its core, the group was driven by a blend of personal vendettas and political ambitions. Many of its members had been directly affected by the changes implemented by Mara and Kale, finding themselves marginalized or losing influence in the new political landscape. This personal resentment was compounded by a broader desire to restore the old ways that had once governed their worlds. They sought to return to a time before the recent reforms, when power dynamics were more aligned with their interests and traditional structures were in place. As Mara and Kale pieced together the evidence, they realized the extent of the threat posed by this organization. The group's activities were not limited to the economic sabotage they had initially encountered. Their influence had infiltrated various levels of society, manipulating public opinion and sowing discord among the populace. The attacks on trade routes were just one facet of a larger, more insidious plan to undermine the stability of the kingdoms from within. The organization's ability to mobilize and coordinate its efforts highlighted the serious challenge they now faced. The revelation of this covert organization posed a significant strategic dilemma for Mara and Kale. They had to confront the fact that their adversaries were not only targeting their external stability, but also actively working to erode their internal support. To effectively counter this threat, they needed to develop a comprehensive strategy that addressed both the immediate disruptions and the deeper, underlying issues of dissent and division within their realms. Mara and Kale began by intensifying their efforts to uncover the full scope of the organization's network. They employed a range of intelligence-gathering methods, including discreet investigations, surveillance, and the infiltration of known sympathizers. This approach aimed to identify key figures within the organization, understand their strategies, and disrupt their operations before they could cause further harm. The investigation required a delicate balance of secrecy and action to prevent tipping off the organization and escalating the situation. In parallel with their intelligence efforts, Mara and Kale worked to reinforce their support among their loyalists and the general populace. They launched public campaigns to address the concerns and grievances that had been exacerbated by the organization's activities. By highlighting their commitment to stability and progress, they sought to counteract the misinformation and dissent being spread by their adversaries. This public relations strategy was crucial in maintaining morale and support during a period of heightened tension and uncertainty. The confrontation with this covert organization tested Mara and Kale's leadership and their ability to adapt to unexpected challenges. They had to navigate a complex web of political intrigue and personal rivalries while ensuring that their actions did not further alienate or divide their supporters. The process required not only strategic acumen but also a deep understanding of the motivations and fears driving their adversaries. It was a high-stakes battle that demanded both tactical precision and empathetic leadership. As they continued to dismantle the organization's network and address the underlying causes of dissent, Mara and Kale remained resolute in their commitment to preserving the peace they had achieved. The experience reinforced their understanding of the fragile nature of their success and the constant vigilance required to protect it. They emerged from the confrontation with a renewed appreciation for the complexities of governance and the importance of addressing both external threats and internal divisions. The battle against the covert organization marked a crucial chapter in their journey, underscoring the challenges and triumphs of their shared leadership. The escalating threat required immediate and strategic action from Mara and Kale. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, they convened emergency meetings with their closest advisors and trusted allies. These discussions were crucial for devising a plan to confront the multifaceted challenges that lay ahead. The threat was not only pressing but also intricate, demanding a response that would address both the immediate disruptions and the underlying causes of unrest. Mara and Kale knew that their strategy needed to be both robust and carefully calibrated to avoid exacerbating the situation. In these high-stakes meetings, the focus was on creating a comprehensive plan that would enhance their kingdom's defenses while preserving the delicate diplomatic relationships they had worked so hard to establish. The advisors and allies provided invaluable insights, offering a range of perspectives on how best to respond to the covert organization's activities. The discussions were intense, as each advisor contributed their expertise on security, diplomacy, and public relations. The goal was to develop a strategy that would safeguard their realms without triggering further instability. The task of balancing increased security with diplomatic considerations was daunting. Mara and Kale understood that any aggressive move could risk alienating their allies or inciting further unrest among their own people. They had to tread carefully, ensuring that their response was measured and did not play into the hands of those seeking to destabilize their kingdoms. The complexity of the situation required them to weigh every decision carefully, considering both the immediate impact and the long-term consequences of their actions. To address the immediate threat, they implemented a series of strategic measures. These included strengthening border security, increasing patrols along vulnerable trade routes, and enhancing intelligence-gathering efforts to track the activities of the covert organization. Additionally, they mobilized their military forces to be on high alert, prepared to respond swiftly to any further incidents. These measures aimed to disrupt the organization's operations and prevent additional sabotage, while minimizing the risk of an overreaction that could inflame tensions. Simultaneously, Mara and Kale worked to maintain and reinforce their diplomatic relationships. They engaged in discreet negotiations with their allies to ensure continued support and cooperation. They also reached out to neutral parties to gather intelligence and build alliances that could provide additional support against the covert organization. The aim was to reassure their allies of their commitment to mutual security and to emphasize that their actions were not aimed at disrupting the broader coalition but rather at protecting their shared interests. Public communication was another critical aspect of their strategy. Mara and Kale launched a series of carefully crafted public statements and media campaigns to address the concerns of their citizens and counteract the misinformation spread by the covert organization. They aimed to maintain public confidence in their leadership and to convey that their actions were necessary to preserve stability. By managing the narrative, they hoped to prevent panic and maintain support for their efforts. As they executed their plan, Mara and Kale faced ongoing challenges. They had to remain vigilant and adaptable as the situation continued to evolve. The covert organization's tactics were fluid, and their ability to respond to emerging threats in real time was crucial. Mara and Kale's leadership was continually tested as they navigated the shifting dynamics of the conflict and worked to keep their strategy aligned with their overarching goals. Despite the difficulties, the coordinated response began to yield results. The increased security measures helped to mitigate some of the immediate threats, while the diplomatic efforts reinforced their alliances and ensured continued support. The public's response was generally positive, with growing recognition of the need for vigilance and unity in the face of adversity. Mara and Kale's ability to balance these diverse demands underscored their resilience and commitment to their kingdoms, demonstrating their capacity to lead through even the most challenging times. Throughout the crisis, Mara and Kale leaned heavily on their deep bond and mutual commitment to navigate the escalating turmoil. The pressure they faced was immense, testing not only their leadership but also the strength of their partnership. Every decision they made was scrutinized, every move weighed carefully against potential repercussions. The dual responsibility of managing the immediate threat while maintaining the fragile peace they had worked so hard to achieve placed an extraordinary burden on them. As the threat intensified, Mara and Kale found themselves grappling with a multifaceted crisis that extended beyond mere political maneuvering. They had to manage a complex web of alliances, balancing the needs and expectations of their allies with the imperative to secure their own realms. The internal dissent that had surfaced within their kingdoms added another layer of difficulty, requiring them to address the concerns of discontented factions while striving to present a united front. The emerging threats were not just tactical challenges but strategic puzzles that demanded their utmost attention. Mara and Kale were forced to adapt their strategies continually, responding to the shifting tactics of the covert organization and anticipating their next moves. This dynamic environment tested their ability to remain agile and proactive, ensuring that their responses were both effective and measured to prevent further destabilization. Navigating this complex landscape required more than just tactical acumen. It necessitated deep personal resilience and a strong sense of shared purpose. Mara and Kale drew strength from their partnership, using their mutual trust and understanding as a foundation for their decisions. Their bond was a crucial asset, helping them to stay focused on their common goals even as the challenges seemed overwhelming. The crisis also highlighted the profound impact of their leadership on the stability of their kingdoms. Mara and Kale's ability to maintain coherence and unity within their ranks was essential for countering the threat and restoring order. Their leadership was not only about making strategic choices, but also about inspiring confidence and resilience among their people and allies. Throughout the ordeal, Mara and Kale engaged in continuous dialogue, both with each other and with their closest advisors. This ongoing communication was vital for ensuring that their approach remained coordinated and that they could address any emerging issues in real time. The strength of their partnership was evident in their ability to work through disagreements and find common ground, even under immense pressure. The crisis underscored the broader significance of their shared efforts. It was not merely a test of their ability to manage a specific threat, but a profound examination of their capacity to uphold the values of unity and cooperation that had become the cornerstone of their leadership. Their response to the situation would ultimately define their legacy and shape the future of their realms. As they worked through the complexities of the crisis, Mara and Kale emerged with a renewed understanding of their roles and a strengthened resolve. The experience reinforced their commitment to each other and to their kingdoms, proving that their partnership was not only a political alliance, but a source of enduring strength. Despite the challenges they faced, their ability to navigate the turmoil together reaffirmed their leadership and set the stage for a more resilient future. As Mara and Kale confronted the escalating crisis, they were deeply aware of the gravity of their situation. The threat they faced was not just a challenge to their immediate goals, but a potential unraveling of everything they had worked so hard to achieve. Their alliance, the product of years of negotiation and cooperation, now faced its greatest test. Every decision they made had far-reaching consequences, and the success of their mission depended on their ability to navigate these turbulent waters with precision and resolve. The threat loomed large and menacing, casting a shadow over their hard-won peace and stability. The complexity of the situation was daunting, and the stakes were higher than ever. Mara and Kale understood that any misstep could jeopardize not only their own realms, but also the broader network of alliances they had so carefully constructed. Their commitment to safeguarding the unity and security of their kingdoms was unwavering, driving them to confront the crisis with both urgency and resolve. In the coming days, the weight of the situation would demand every ounce of their strength and ingenuity. The challenges they faced were manifold, from managing internal dissent and addressing emerging threats to maintaining diplomatic relations with their allies. Each aspect of the crisis required a strategic approach, and Mara and Kale knew that their responses needed to be both swift and calculated. Their leadership would be tested in ways they had not anticipated, and they were prepared to confront these trials head-on. The forces working against them were sophisticated and determined, aiming to exploit any vulnerabilities in their alliance. Mara and Kale had to stay vigilant and adaptable, continuously assessing the situation and adjusting their strategies. The threat was not only a tactical challenge, but also a test of their ability to remain united and focused on their common goals. Their determination to protect their achievements and secure their future was a driving force, pushing them to confront the crisis with unwavering tenacity. The strain of the crisis was palpable, affecting not only their strategic decisions but also their personal dynamics. The intense pressure tested their relationship and their ability to communicate effectively under stress. Yet, even as they faced disagreements and uncertainties, their bond remained a source of strength. Mara and Kale relied on their mutual trust and understanding to navigate the complexities of the situation and to support each other through the difficulties. As they worked tirelessly to address the immediate threats, they also had to consider the long-term implications of their actions. The decisions they made would shape the future of their alliance and set the course for their continued struggle for unity and security. They were acutely aware that their response needed to balance immediate needs with strategic foresight, ensuring that their actions would not only resolve the current crisis but also fortify their position in the future. Throughout the ordeal, Mara and Kale's leadership was defined by their resilience and adaptability. They approached each challenge with a blend of strategic insight and personal dedication, demonstrating their capacity to handle adversity. Their ability to stay focused on their shared goals, even amidst chaos, was a testament to their strength as leaders and partners. The crisis served as a crucible, forging their leadership in the fires of conflict and uncertainty. As they faced the ongoing struggle, Mara and Kale remained resolute in their commitment to their realms and their alliance. The road ahead was fraught with difficulties, but their shared determination to preserve the peace and stability they had built kept them moving forward. With every challenge they overcame, they reinforced their unity and deepened their bond, preparing themselves for the continued fight to secure a future where their kingdoms could thrive together.